Hi, thanks for tuning to another episode of the Spiritual Scientist channel. I'm Victor Hobson. Hey, thanks for checking me out. So today I'm going to do one on the Mandela effect. I haven't done one on the Mandela effect in a while, and I think you're going to find this very interesting. It's going to blow your socks off, as they say. So let's get right to it. I'm going to try to make this one short and sweet. So I'm into science, I'm into spirituality, hence the Spiritual Scientist channel. So I've watched a lot of these, as most people did. I watched a lot of the rocket launches when I was a kid. I watched the one of the things that devastated me was the space shuttle Challenger disaster. So I remember that. I think it's like when people have something like when Kennedy was shot. It's something you never forget. It's a footnote in history that you were there for. And if you're like me, where I was going to a grade school, and the next day they did a half day of school, and they had counselors that came in to talk to the kids, because it was just so devastating for us all to have that happen in our lives, where everybody was confronted with the death of the teacher that went up and everything. So I was looking at history last night. I was staying up late, and I came across this one which totally blew my mind, and I had to share it, I thought. So, and here I am doing it, so I guess I did. So the space shuttle Challenger disaster was such a big thing. It's something you just don't forget. Now, the space shuttle Columbia, I remember distinctly. I remember that it was going up. I remember, all the launches. I remember that there were some tiles that came loose, like these 5 tiles that came loose. The space shuttle Columbia going up, and what they did was they had it in outer space, but when it was coming down, what they decided to do is they tasked fighter jets to go up alongside it and eyeball it to make sure that it was okay for re-entry. And then it landed, and it landed safely. Now, in this, what you could call timeline, or however you want to explain it, it exploded. So this, to me, is crazy. And it's not just crazy on one level. It's like the space shuttle Challenger was so devastating to everybody. I mean, it's something you just don't forget. I remember where I was. I remember what I was wearing. I remember who was there in the room with me. It's just something you remember so distinctly. And then to have the Columbia disaster, another shuttle disaster with 7 crew members that died, and I have no recollection of this at all. In fact, I remember the opposite. I remember it landing safely. This is crazy, right? Do you remember the Columbia disaster? If you do, give this a thumbs down, this video. If you are like me and remember it landing safely and never had in your recall 2 space shuttle disasters a couple of years apart, give this video a thumbs up. I'm going to read a little bit about the history of it for people that are like me and don't have any recollection of this. On February 1st, 2003, Space Shuttle Columbia broke up as it returned to Earth, killing the 7 astronauts on board. NASA suspended the space shuttle flights for more than 2 years as it investigated the disaster. An investigation board determined that a large piece of foam fell from the shuttle's external tank and breached the spacecraft wing. The problem with the foam had been known for years, and NASA came under intense scrutiny in Congress and the media for allowing the situation to continue. That's not, as I recall, that's not what happened. The Columbia mission was the second space shuttle disaster after Challenger, which saw a catastrophic failure during a launch in 1986. The Columbian disaster directly led to the retirement of the space shuttle fleet in 2011. So why would it be? It happened in 2003, but it directly led to the retirement of the fleet in 2011. That doesn't make sense. NASA is developing a successor commercial program that will bring astronauts to space station no early in 2018. That didn't happen. But here's some of the crazy parts of this. The names are crazy of the 7 crew members. Rick Husband, just like you would spell out husband, commander. Michael Anderson, payload commander. David Brown, mission specialist. Kalpana Chawla, mission specialist. Laurel Clark, mission specialist. William McCool. How cool a pilot. His name was William McCool. Bill McCool. How cool is that name? And Ian, with 2 eyes, I guess, Rahman, payload specialist from the Israel Space Agency. This just does not ring a bell. Now, one of the things I came across as well with this, which is really mind-blowing, another part of this that makes completely no sense to me, the hook-in with Deep Purple, the band. So, okay, I like Deep Purple. I mean, you know, Smoke on the Water, cool. One of the crew members were really into Deep Purple, which doesn't really make sense, right? Like, how big a fan are you of Deep Purple, really? You're not saying anything about Deep Purple, guys, but come on. They're great, but you know, there's other bands that are even greater, right? So it says that this person was, this shuttle, someone on the shuttle was really into Deep Purple and had during this flight had communication with Deep Purple on the ground, right? That it just sounds too crazy. So after the space shuttle exploded, what they're saying is Columbia exploded, 2 of the CDs from the astronaut were found totally intact from the Deep Purple music. And then afterwards, Deep Purple did a tribute song about the space shuttle exploding. To me, that's insane. Like a space shuttle explodes. It didn't explode in history, and now 2 Deep Purple albums were recovered and they're working fine. Like, are you kidding me? How could that happen? Like, that doesn't make sense. I'm going to type this in because I was reading this last night. Are you kidding me? Deep Purple's tribute to victims of Space Shuttle Columbia tragedy. And it's just really weird. Space Shuttle Columbia orbital vector designation OV-102 was his first space-rated orbit on NASA. Okay, I'm gonna go through this. It's really weird. I mean, they go into how it linked up with Deep Purple, and Columbia was destroyed about 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on February 1st, 2003, while re-entering the atmosphere after a 16-day scientific mission. So first of all, I remember the mission itself, but I remember that it was cut short because they found these tiles. There was like 5 of them that came loose, so it didn't go all the way to 16 days. I really do remember these things. The Columbia Accident Investigation Board determined a hole was punctured in the leading edge of one of Columbia's wings, which was made of carbon composite. The hole had formed when a piece of insulating foam from the external fuel tank peeled off during a launch 16 days earlier and struck the shuttle's left wing. During the intense heat of re-entry, hot gases penetrated the interior of the wing, likely compromising the hydraulic system and leading to control failure of the control surfaces. The resulting loss of control exposed minimally protected areas of the orbiter to full entry heating and dynamic pressures, eventually led to the vehicle breaking up. Anyway, tributes and memorials goes over. Nose cap and remains of all 7 crew members were found in Sabine County, East Texas. Honored those who lost their lives aboard. It goes. Guitarist Steve Morse of the rock band Deep Purple wrote the instrumental Contact Loss. Never heard that song. In response to tragedy, recorded by Deep Purple and featured a closing track in 2003 album Bananas. It was dedicated. This is Bananas. It dedicated to astronauts whose lives were lost in disaster. Morse donated songwriting royalties of families of lost astronauts. The astronauts in the mission. The astronaut and specialist engineer Kalpana Chawla was one of the victims of the accident, was a fan of Deep Purple and exchanged emails with the band during the flight. Now, how crazy is that? Making the tragedy even more personal for the group. She took 3 CDs into space with her, 2 of which were Deep Purple albums, Machine Head and Perpendicular. Both CDs survived the destruction of Shuttle and a 39-mile plunge. It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, let me know what you think about this one. And as they always say, like, subscribe, share. Let me know what you think about this disaster, this tragedy that now seems to have occurred, but I have no recollection of that at all. Let me know what you think. Thanks so much. Like, subscribe, share. Peace out. Bye-bye.